Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into the life of one of the greatest geniuses in history, the ultimate Renaissance man, Leonardo da Vinci. You may know him as the artist behind the Mona Lisa or the Last Supper, but did you know there's so much more to his story? In this video, we'll uncover 10 fascinating facts about Leonardo da Vinci that will blow your mind. So, grab your sketchpad, channel your inner inventor, and let's explore the extraordinary life of this legendary polymath. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories from history. 1. His name wasn't really Leonardo da Vinci. Let's start with his name. Leonardo's full birth name was Leonardo di Ser Piero da Vinci, which translates to Leonardo, son of Ser Piero from Vinci. His last name isn't a surname as we understand it today, but simply points to his hometown, Vinci, a quaint village in Tuscany. Among his contemporaries, he was simply known as Leonardo, or sometimes Il Florentine, because of his time spent near Florence. So, while we've come to know him as Leonardo da Vinci, he'd probably just introduce himself as, well, Leonardo. 2. He was an illegitimate child. And that was a good thing. Born on April 14th or 15th, 1452, Leonardo was the illegitimate son of Ser Piero, a wealthy notary, and Caterina, a peasant woman. This unconventional start to life turned out to be a blessing. Because he was illegitimate, Leonardo wasn't bound by family expectations to follow his father's footsteps as a notary. This freedom allowed him to explore his own interests and talents. Imagine if this twist of fate hadn't occurred. Would the world still have the Vitruvian Man or his groundbreaking scientific sketches? 3. He had little formal education. Despite being one of the most brilliant minds in history, Leonardo didn't have much formal schooling. Beyond basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, he was largely self-taught. But don't let that fool you. By the age of 14, Leonardo was apprenticed to Andrea del Verrocchio, a renowned artist in Florence. Under Verrocchio's mentorship, Leonardo honed skills in painting, sculpting, carpentry, and even metalwork. His earliest known work, a pen and ink sketch of the Arno River Valley, was completed in 1473, proof that raw talent and curiosity can conquer formal limitations. 4. His first big commissions were never finished. Even great artists have their hiccups. Leonardo's first independent commission in 1478 was an altarpiece for the chapel of Saint Bernard in Florence. A few years later, he was hired to paint the Adoration of the Magi for the monastery of San Donato. Neither work was completed. Why? Because Leonardo was invited to Milan to work for the powerful Sforza family. While his earlier projects were left incomplete, his time in Milan was pivotal. There, he created the iconic The Last Supper and worked on several ambitious designs and inventions. 5. He was a talented musician. Think painting and inventing were his only gifts? Think again. Leonardo was also a skilled musician. He played the lyre and flute, and was even known to sing beautifully. Giorgio Vasari, his biographer, described how Leonardo could perform impromptu compositions that left audiences in awe. He didn't just play music, he innovated. Leonardo designed an instrument called the viola organista, a hybrid of a harpsichord and viola, which was finally built in 2013 based on his original sketches. Talk about being ahead of your time. 6. His largest project was destroyed. Leonardo da Vinci dedicated 17 years of his life to what could have been his magnum opus, the Gran Cavallo, also known as Leonardo's horse. Commissioned by Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan, this monumental equestrian statue was intended to be a masterpiece of unprecedented scale. Planned to stand over 25 feet tall, it was envisioned as the largest equestrian statue ever created. The project represented Leonardo's genius for combining art and engineering, requiring groundbreaking techniques to cast such a massive structure in bronze. Leonardo meticulously crafted a full-size clay model of the horse, which awed contemporaries with its realism and scale. However, in 1499, before the statue could be cast, French forces invaded Milan. The occupying soldiers destroyed the clay model, using it for target practice. The devastation of this ambitious project haunted Leonardo for the rest of his life. He carried with him the knowledge of what might have been, a testament to the fleeting nature of even the grandest human endeavors. 7. He was a chronic procrastinator. Leonardo da Vinci's boundless curiosity was a double-edged sword. While it fueled his unparalleled creativity, it also led to chronic procrastination. Leonardo was notorious for starting projects with great enthusiasm, only to abandon or delay them indefinitely. His notebooks are filled with sketches, observations, and blueprints, many of which remained unrealized. From intricate flying machines to designs for military tanks, his visionary ideas often outpaced his capacity to complete them. Even his masterpieces were not immune. The Last Supper, one of his most celebrated works, deteriorated quickly due to experimental techniques Leonardo used, and the Mona Lisa, arguably the most famous painting in history, was still unfinished when Leonardo died. 8. His genius wasn't fully recognized in his time. While Leonardo da Vinci was widely admired as an artist, his scientific genius remained largely unacknowledged during his lifetime. The Renaissance was a period of intellectual ferment, but Leonardo's pioneering ideas were often decades or even centuries ahead of their time. He never published his scientific findings, and much of his research remained locked away in his personal notebooks, written in his unique mirror image script. These notebooks contained revolutionary insights into anatomy, engineering, and astronomy. Leonardo's anatomical studies, for example, were incredibly detailed and accurate, yet they had little impact on contemporary medicine because they were never shared with the scientific community. 9. He was accused of sodomy. In 1476, Leonardo da Vinci faced a harrowing scandal that could have ended his life. He and 3 other men were accused of sodomy, a crime punishable by death in 15th century Florence. The charges arose from allegations involving a male prostitute, and while the case was ultimately dismissed due to lack of evidence, the ordeal had a profound impact on Leonardo. The accusation forced him into a period of seclusion. For 2 years, he withdrew from public life, focusing instead on honing his artistic skills and intellectual pursuits. When he re-emerged in 1478, it was as a commissioned artist with a renewed focus on his craft. The incident, though traumatic, did not diminish his resolve to pursue his passions. 10. He spent his final years in France. Leonardo da Vinci spent the last years of his life in France, at the invitation of King Francis I. The king, a great admirer of Leonardo's work, appointed him as premier painter and engineer and architect to the king. This prestigious position came with a comfortable residence at Clos-Lucé, a manor house near the royal palace in the Loire Valley. Leonardo passed away on May 2, 1519, at the age of 67. He was buried in the chapel of Saint-Hubert in Amboise, but during the French Revolution, much of the chapel was destroyed, leaving historians unable to identify his exact burial site. His legacy, however, remains indelible, an enduring testament to the breadth of his genius and the profound impact he had on art, science, and human imagination. So, there you have it. 10 surprising facts about Leonardo da Vinci, the man who was centuries ahead of his time. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Leonardo's world, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more stories about history's greatest minds.